Welcome, Eunice. Thanks for agreeing to be on my channel today. I know I've been featured on your channel because you're responsible for this amazing backdrop that I have for filming my videos and working with clients and other coaches. And I literally get compliments on the background like every week.
Oh,
So thank you for that.
oh,
But
I'm
today I want to talk more about you and your channel. Like we've known each other for a few years now, and we originally met through YouTube, but I think we just developed this friendship and that I'm very grateful for. And so kind of wanted to talk to you a bit about your YouTube journey, your content creator journey, because I know through our conversations together, you're kind of doing some subtle pivots in recent times. And I think it speaks directly to a lot of the kind of content on my channel, which is around fulfillment. So,
mm,
so could you introduce yourself and your channel to my viewers?
yeah. So I'm Eunice. Hello. First of all, thank you for having me on your channel. My channel is called Eunice at Home. I make content around home decor and home lifestyle. I've been doing it for 2 years now, a little actually over than that,
I
I
think
think
more
two
than
and
two
a
years.
half years. Wow. And yeah, I've definitely pivoted, I feel like so many times throughout the last 2 years, but I'm feeling good about where I'm heading into right now, which is more home lifestyle, more homemaking, and the parts of home life that I truly enjoy doing.
Mm.
Mhm.
Very cool. It sounds like each time you refine the direction of your channel, it's really about kind of tapping into a deeper sense of fulfillment for yourself. And maybe you
Mhm.
can even talk a little bit, because we both come from corporate America backgrounds at one point. And from what I understand, that was one of the initial drivers for you to even step into the content creator space.
Yeah, so corporate America. Yeah, so before YouTube, I was in tech. I switched a lot actually, and I think that kind of shows for my unfulfillment. Like
Mhm.
I was always trying to figure out what fulfilled me. And I studied pre-med in college, thought I was gonna either become a doctor, pharmacist. It kept going down to like optometrist, dentist. I didn't know what I wanted to do. And then around that time, I had a friend doing coding boot camp. And that was very enticing for me because it was a quick way to switch my career into tech. And had taken like a bio data tech class during my biology major time and really liked it. I liked how there was like the sense of coding, but also using code to create visuals to display data. And that was kind of where I got to be creative. So I thought it was a nice segue into something different and a quick way to do that.
Mm.
So I did coding boot camp, became an engineer. During my engineering first job as an engineer, I had a really great mentor who showed me the world of UI UX, which is the front end part of apps. So as a UI person, you get to design what apps look like,
Mhm.
feel like. And I thought, oh, like that's even more creative. That's more
Yeah.
design. I want to do that. And so it was like I was finding my way towards doing more creative work.
Mm.
Um, so that was like what, two career changes just within like 3, 4 years.
Yeah.
Um, but even way back before, from middle school to high school to college, I always had some sort of a blog. And
Mm.
I loved creating during my Space Zanga days. I was up all night, like coding,
Okay.
burning CDs for my friends. Like it was just where I felt like just so in a flow. Like my
Yeah.
inner child was so happy doing
Very
that stuff.
cool. This is actually, I think, new news to me. So what kind of stuff did you blog about back then?
It was so like I tried all kinds
Yeah.
of things. So during MySpace Zanga days, it was probably something more personal, like
Hmm.
this person at school, like blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And then during college, I did like fashion, makeup, blogging,
Oh, cool.
travel.
Hmm.
Jason and I have a travel blog together called Itinerary for Two.
And Jason
Um,
is your,
my fiance.
okay.
Yeah. um, so yeah, I've always dabbled in creating in some
Mm,
sort.
mhm.
And around high school was when I really got into watching YouTube. Like there were these
Okay.
creators like Michelle Fan, Niga
Hmm.
Higa, like especially Asian American creators, because I felt like
Hmm.
I could really relate to them.
Mm,
And they sort of acted as like mentors in a way, like, oh,
mhm,
I'm learning so much from these people. And all throughout college, I'd watch bloggers go through their own college life. And
mhm,
it was something that I always thought in the back of my mind, like, oh, I want to do that one day.
mm,
Like, I love how they're living their lives.
mhm,
And so, kind of like me transitioning from med to eng to design, as I'm going through that, I'm still thinking, I want to do YouTube. I want to
mm,
do something
mhm.
bigger than this. And it like reached the point where
Yeah.
I was really dissatisfied at my 9 to 5.
Were you enjoying the work itself? Do you recall?
It's a little like hard to dissect.
Yeah.
Like there were parts of the design work that I did enjoy, if I'm
Mhm,
being very honest, but I still did not enjoy like having that pressure of like, oh, I need to like present this to someone else.
yeah. So it's
And
almost like your innate creativity wasn't able to fully come through because you were creating whatever you were creating was for someone else or a client, right?
yeah,
Mhm,
yeah. And I like the part of creating, but I didn't enjoy like having to like present it and get
mm,
it approved. And
mhm,
I think that's where I really wanted my own ownership and freedom.
mm, mhm.
Mhm. So yeah.
Cool. And then what may or what kind of inspired you to choose your current or just the direction of your YouTube channel? So I know since there's some DIY, home decor, all different things, but it sounds like you're even deepening kind of your authentic creative aspects as time goes on.
Yeah, so when I started YouTube, I did not know what I wanted to do. I
Mm,
don't know if that's the smartest way to start.
mhm,
But I dabbled in a few areas like cooking. I've done
mhm,
fashion videos in the past. And that was around when COVID hit and a
mhm,
lot of us were stuck at home. Jason and his mom had just bought this condo. So we had just moved in. It was
mm,
an empty slate.
mhm,
I naturally wanted to fill it up, design it, decorate. And so it it made sense for me to do home decor
mhm.
content at the time. And interestingly, that was also when home decor content was like starting to blow up because people were stuck at home. So
Oh,
I
I
was
see.
seeing people doing this on YouTube, like doing DIYs and decorating and building a community out of it. And I was like, oh, like
Yeah.
I can see myself doing this for
Hmm.
years down the line because it's never ending.
Yeah.
I love home decor. Yeah.
Wow.
Mhm.
And because to me, I've always found that content creation, especially in a public space such as YouTube or even blogging, um, for myself, I know it's been a very transformative kind of journey. Would you agree with that? Would you say that like it's kind of the process of putting authentic content out into the world really makes us look internally um, to better understand ourselves?
Yeah, it really does. There's so many aspects of the whole video creating process, starting a business process, that really is a lot of inner work.
Mm,
Like, I think simply from even just filming in front of the camera and
mhm,
getting to watch yourself over and over again, you learn like how do I behave? Like, oh, I do this and that. And
yeah,
I think that part, it's sort of like building a relationship with yourself, like getting
yeah,
to really see yourself and
hmm,
understand how and who you are.
yeah,
And then also the whole business part of like figuring out my purpose, what am I passionate about, that's also a lot of inner work because you have to
Mhm.
really feel aligned with what you are creating.
Yeah. And I know just that authentic alignment isn't necessarily a driving core value for all creators on YouTube, but it sounds like that's very important for you and people like me. Like that
Uh,
authenticity is kind of a key driver towards that deeper fulfillment that we're looking for.
yeah,
Um, and
yeah, it is. I think like at some point when I was doing mostly DIYs and makeovers, I sometimes you don't even realize that you're not aligned with
mm,
yourself or that you're not authentically living with yourself and you feel
mhm,
like you're kind of losing control.
mm,
And I think it was when I was starting to burn out that I really started to think about it and look within, like, why am I feeling this way? And
yeah.
so it really questions you constantly when
Yeah.
you're creating content. Mhm.
That's cool that you mentioned burnout because I think that's popular. Like it's a very common theme in the YouTube creator, content creator space,
Mhm.
but also it's something that I work around with my clients as well. And so, would you be open to sharing a little bit what burnout looked like for you as far as
Yeah,
on YouTube?
yeah. I think burnout felt like this constant feeling of anxiety.
Mm, mm-hmm,
I can't put into words and I can't really like vividly remember, but
mm-hmm,
it was like I was just in this cycle and I was creating for the sake of creating
mm-hmm.
and I wasn't really into it.
Yeah.
And sometimes I would like some DIY videos I put out there were literally just for the sake of meeting a weekly deadline.
Mm. And that
Um,
weekly deadline, I mean, ultimately was self-imposed, but at that time, it sounded like a lot of YouTube coaches were kind of pushing at least weekly uploads and just for the benefit of, gaming the YouTube algorithm, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, so those of you who don't know much, like the algorithm, like it's everywhere. They say like you have to meet a weekly deadline
Hmm.
to get your video exposed. I think that's shifting now, which is amazing. I'm hearing from more bigger creators that like quality over quantity now.
Okay.
And maybe because it's just becoming more saturated that more people understand and empathize like the
Mm-hmm.
reality of being a creator. I'm also seeing more people post on social media saying like, "I'm gonna go on a break for 2 weeks, 3 weeks,"
Mm-hmm.
and I love that. I love
Yeah.
that, like, people are encouraging it, but yeah, the weekly thing is it's hard.
Hmm. Yeah, it's easy to get caught in that grind of just needing to create content.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm. And then recently you've shared with me that you're kind of doing like subtle adjustments to the direction of your channel.
Mm,
And so maybe you could talk a little bit about that because I know a lot of those subtle shifts come from some deepening self-awareness.
yeah.
And
Yeah. I I think the best place to start is just the beginning of my YouTube channel. So when
mm,
I first started, I was very new, studied up a lot of, what to do, what not to do, and that's where you learn things like you need to post weekly, you should do
mm,
this and that, and you get stuck in the cycle of like, oh, I need to meet all of these requirements
mhm,
and make my thumbnail good, my
mm,
title, and I got to a point where, again, like I mentioned earlier, I was making content for the sake of creating.
mhm,
Um, and on top of that, the projects that I was filming were hefty. Like they cost a lot. They were labor intensive, like
mhm,
makeovers, DIYs. And when I caught myself creating just for the sake of creating, I noticed that I was making things that I wasn't even using in my home.
Mm,
And so I
mhm,
was creating more waste. And I
mm,
think around that time when I realized that was when I did my first pivot. Um, I thought, I'm like not being authentic. I'm not
mm,
creating things I'm using, and this
mhm,
is just burning me out. How about I include more parts of home lifestyle that do fulfill me, like
mm.
hosting people and cooking?
Yeah, it's almost like you were putting all that effort through or forward, but you weren't getting anything back. Yeah,
Yeah.
so ultimately it felt unsustainable.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but hosting friends, I know you have a lot of friends that you host for. That just, it sounds like it just kind of fills you up internally.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. Um, when I tried that for a bit though, my videos started to not perform as well.
Mm-hmm.
And then I did another pivot back into makeovers and DIYs. And, and I thought, at the end of the day, I am a business. I have to think, how do I sustain this? So maybe I need to be smart and do what's working for my channel, which was
Mm-hmm.
actually the makeovers and DIYs.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Uh, but when I pivoted the second time, I told myself I'm only gonna do what's true to me. Like I'm only gonna DIY things I'm actually gonna use.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but then I like started to feel that same burnout again.
Yeah.
And I think there's other nuances to that where, for instance, um, even though I had gotten back into makeovers and DIYs, I was still experimenting because like in YouTube, there are certain formats that you want to try, like Mr. Beast style, where you're
Mm-hmm.
more like uppity in your videos. So I was experimenting a lot, and I think that also burnt me out because I was just trying things to try to get my channel to succeed and
Yeah.
not really doing what felt like was my voice.
Mm-hmm.
And now, recently, I pivoted again into a direction that I'm still experimenting, but I
Sure.
feel like I'm getting closer to what is more of my voice and
Mm-hmm.
what I enjoy. And even though my views are lower, I feel
Yeah.
much better about it. So I think
Yeah.
over time, I've gotten accustomed to like, it's not just about the views, it's
Mm-hmm.
also my own fulfillment.
Yeah. Um, how would you characterize your videos as far as, because to me you have a very unique kind of energy signature, where after I watch your videos I tend to feel like calm and spacious, especially seeing you organize things so nicely. It just kind of brings like an inner peace when I watch the projects that you're sharing with other people. So is that, how important is it for you these days to, I don't know, create, I assume that that sense of peace and spaciousness actually comes from when you tap into your own inner experience of peace and spaciousness.
Yeah. Um, I guess your question is like, how would I describe that?
Or yeah, even just how would that inform your channel? Or do you even agree with that? That's just my
Yeah,
perception of
yeah,
how I feel after I watch your content.
totally. I think throughout my like my young adulthood life, I've always received comments like you have soothing energy
Mm,
or you're motherly or you're just so comfortable.
hmm.
And I think, or you're healing. Sometimes I do think that in another life I could have actually been a good doctor or a
Yeah.
nurse because I do think I have that like healing energy.
Yeah.
And so it's something that I'm channeling into, like I'm tapping
Mm,
into, because I think if
hmm.
that's the value that I can provide my close friends,
Hmm.
that's the best way I can help others and impact
Yeah.
others. Mhm,
Yeah.
mhm.
What, like, it sounds like almost like being of service in some way is a core aspect of why you create right now. And you've mentioned this to me offline as well. So would you say that's true, that there's some kind of influence that you're hoping to have or offer the people that view your content.
Yeah. I
Mhm.
want people to watch my videos and leave lighter and just feel
Mhm.
more comforted. Um, I I don't think I'm the best with like words,
Mm,
but I
mhm.
like to show things
Yeah.
and aesthetically, visually. So I'm hoping that as I experiment, I can find like that perfect medium where I'm able to translate that vibe
Yeah.
into
Yeah. And it
onto
sounds
the
like a
other
big
side.
part of your journey is really experimentation, which I also believe is like very important, just to try things, not get stuck in doing things a certain way.
Mhm.
Um, and I know you've experimented with so many things, like even like video editing, you self-taught yourself that, right?
Eh,
Because to
yeah,
me, I
yeah.
really
I don't know why I'm
enjoy,
blanking.
yeah. To me, I've noticed just how your video editing has evolved in almost in service to the experimentation that you're doing.
Mhm. Yeah,
It's
yeah.
pretty amazing to me. Well, thanks for sharing. You got a bit of your story with us. I'm curious what's next for you and your channel and all of your other creative endeavors.
Yeah. Thank you for having me. What's next? I'm still going to continue to create.
Mhm.
I actually have taken a step back as I'm taking my course and experimenting to give me the space and time that I need to experiment and find my
Mhm.
voice.
Could you talk a
Uh,
little bit about that, like the course you just mentioned?
oh yeah,
Or,
yeah. So I'm taking a video creator course
mhm.
by I Love Creatives. It is taught partially by Rachel Nguyen, who is a YouTuber,
Mhm.
and it's a very structured way of learning how she does her video making process. And it's a lot of introspection, and it's
Mhm.
just the kind of course that I was needing to help translate like who am I, what do I want to do into
Mhm.
like a video. So I'm giving myself the space for that, and um, and I'm also looking up some more income stream ideas
Mhm.
so that I can
Mhm.
sustain my channel growth.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Beautiful. So where can people find you if they want to connect with you?
Yeah, YouTube, Eunice at home, and then my
Mhm.
Instagram is Eunice_at home.
Great.
Mhm.
All right. Well, thanks again.
Thank
Really
you.
enjoyed chatting with you.